for whom the bell tolls. All right, hello wine drinking people, we're back. It's Friday, July 9th. That's right, folks, my last day before my second summer vacation. I got 1 foot out the door already, folks, and just one more show to do, and I'm out of here. Actually, we got a vintage Brunello tasting tonight, and then I'm out of here first thing tomorrow morning. But before I leave, what I drank yesterday. Now for what I drank yesterday. But first, what I drank yesterday. What I drank yesterday section of the show, and that's what we're doing right now. What I drank yesterday. Now time for what I drank yesterday. All right, and as you know, we've had a really light week this week in the store. Not one supplier stopped by yesterday. Once again, thank you guys for leaving me alone. You know, I got a lot of stuff to do before I leave tomorrow morning. But we did have James Cahill here in the store last night for a tasting that just exploded at the last minute. We had like 13 people make reservations for this the day before the event, and then 30 people showed up last night. So for those of you at home that are watching and want to come to one of our events, please give us a call and make reservations. It just really helps us to accommodate you properly. We did split up the wines so people didn't have to, weren't too close together in the back room. It got a little scrunched here. So we can't spread you out and get about 30 people in here comfortably, but to try to do it not knowing just makes it a little difficult for us. But thanks for everybody for coming. The wines showed very well. Even the 2007 vintage wines, which, as you know, if you've watched this show, 2007 wines from Oregon have not been my favorite thing. But Tony does make great wines. And James, it's the first time I've met James, really a delight to talk to. Almost looked a little bit like Tony. Kind of a little weird, you know. He's definitely had the same demeanor, the mild-mannered demeanor of the Tony Soter, and really smart, intelligent guy. I got to talk to him a little bit last night. He worked for Beaufrères and some other great properties in the Willamette and in Burgundy, and he's doing some great things here. It was nice to get his insight into the Soter wines, and the 30 tasters that were here, I think, really appreciated it. Several people had been at our Tony Soter event, the first tasting that we did this year. So, Tony, you got a lot of fans here in South Florida, buddy. All right, whenever we do an event with your wines, people show up. All right, well, last night we started out with the Rosé, the Brut Rosé, one of my favorite domestic sparkling rosés. This wine has got wonderful concentration, lovely wild strawberry, raspberry, red cherry fruit, a little bit of that candied ginger spice that you get from sparkling wines, and then a little bit lovely effervescence, lovely mousse on this, very fine bubbles. Blind, you would mistake this for champagne, or I would anyways, almost every time. Fantastic, and about $50, so it's not cheap, but it is expensive to make great, high-quality sparkling wine. And we're out of this. We have a couple bottles, and then he does 2 disgorgements. The second one will be here in the fall. All right, the North Valley was our first Pinot Noir. This is a wine that is a combination of fruit that's purchased by Tony from some of his friends, his neighbors, and then some of his estate fruit, the Mineral Springs, a 32-acre estate that surrounds the winery. And the 07 vintage, as I mentioned before, you know, bad, good, you know, you hate when people label vintages. I've been labeling this as bad. It's a vintage you want to drink, I think, in its youth or on the young side, as some of these wines, the 07s, definitely showed a little aging potential. This wine you could even keep for 3 to 5 years, but I think you want to drink it up probably in that amount of time. It's going to be the best. It had this lovely red kind of cranberry and red cherry fruit to it, and a little smoke and some light spice, some mushroom and lavender notes. Fairly complex for an entry-level wine, and we've got an even better price on this than we offered last night. We just negotiated a new deal with these guys, so we're going to be offering this at $23.75 on sale. The list price was $32. All right, well, next up is the Beacon Hill. This 2006 vintage is the last vintage that Tony will be making. This is purchased fruit from a single vineyard that has a lighthouse-like structure on it, thus the name Beacon Hill, and it's located in the North Fork of the Chehalem Valley near Yamhill, Oregon, and this vineyard got sold. That's why Tony will no longer be making it, but the Beacon Hill wines were what he started with while he was developing his own vineyard site at Mineral Springs, and this wine has got some lovely exotic oriental spice to it, some fresh earth, also a bit of smoke, red cranberry, raspberry fruit, and almost liqueur-like in concentration. 06 was a much better vintage, a much bigger and more seductive and forward vintage than 07 was. I always like to describe 07 as being more savory, which is a nice way of saying it's a little light. And this wine's got a big finish, like I said, very pleasing, these 06s on the palate, lots of lush and ripe fruit, a really nice Beacon Hill, and as I mentioned, it's the last one. This goes down in the history books. That's it. Okay, and then we had the 06 Mineral Springs, and 05 was the very first vintage that Tony drew fruit off this vineyard. It takes about 4 years from when you plant a vineyard to get the first leaf. I believe 05, 04, 05 was the first leaf off this vineyard, and you get a couple of really good years, your first couple years with Pinot Noir. If you planted the right clone in the right place, you get an idea of what this wine is going to be like when the vines are mature at say 25, 35 years old, and this 06 is definitely was the wine of the night for me. Really big, really seductive forward, wild strawberry, red cherry fruit, black raspberry, playing in the nose with some allspice and light floral perfume also. This wine was fat and fruity on the tongue, had lovely concentration, balance, and length with some great acidity bringing everything together. This is a wine you probably want to keep for 3 to 5 years, or you could hold on to for 8 or 10 years in your cellar. Absolutely brilliant. The 07 Mineral Springs definitely showed a step up from the North Valley. This wine has a little more concentration, a little bit more complexity, but again, kind of light on the savory side, but great for in 07, one of the best 07s that I've had. And then on to the Little Creek. Well, this is the only wine that Tony makes under his name that is not from Oregon. This is from the Napa Valley. This is a Cabernet Franc vineyard that Tony has had for many years and is producing some stunning wines. He's taken the Cabernet Franc off the label because for some reason $80 Cabernet Franc has not been easy to sell. But as soon as he's taken it off and made it a Bordeaux blend, it's kind of taken on new life, this wine, and it is an outstanding bottle of wine. Just incredible concentration and richness. Black raspberry, blackberry, blueberry fruit on the nose with dark spices, new leather, fresh earth, espresso, milk chocolate. Incredibly complex bouquet with some cedary nuance in there as well. Big and chewy on the tongue. This wine needs time. It has a lot of tannin, but it has a lot of everything, echoing the nuance of the spice from the nose through the finish. Very long, almost a whole minute. This wine is most excellent. Something you definitely want to put down in cellar for several years. Hey, when Tony was here, we had the 2002, and that wine still has got some life in it. All right, well, that's what I had to drink last night. I'm your host, soon to be on vacation, Andrew Lampasone, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.